What is going on, everyone? Chris with Journals, Comics, and Pop Culture. This is our top 10 hottest selling comics of the week, our weekly video series brought to you by PopCultureZone.com. Before we get into this week's top 10 books, don't forget to check out PopCultureZone.com's. Their links are below. Check them out if you're interested in getting your hands on some awesome exclusive and incentive variants at affordable costs, CGC slabs, and of course all different kinds of pop culture items, including toys and statues. And if you're buying raw books, they ship at a flat rate fee of only $4.99. You also do not pay taxes, with the exception of New Jersey. Pop Culture Zone is also on eBay, where they still hold a 100% customer feedback rating with over 8,000 ratings this year alone. So again, those links are below to their website and their eBay store. Check them out and make sure you follow them on eBay as well.
We go through the top 10 hottest comics of the week. Chris picks out 3 most interesting books off of that list. Now, granted, interesting doesn't mean great. It could be interesting for other reasons as well. Chris, am I right?
Yeah, we had some good books this week, though.
We do have some good books, and we're just going to jump right into it right now. Here we go. Top 10 hottest comics of the week. Avengers number 1 at the 10 spot. First appearance of Azari. Number 9, we have Ultimate Fallout. Number 4, Chris. Oh, gosh, why is this book popular? I don't even know. At number 8, we have Secret Wars. Number 3, First Titania, who will be in the She-Hulk series. At number 7, Deadpool Red, Black, and Blood. Number 4, Dan Panosian, 1 in 25 variant. The first U.S. appearance, by the way, of Sakura Spider. This is causing quite a stir with a lot of manga fans. At number 6, we have Strange Academy. Number 13, that Arthur Adams variant will not go away. Good stuff. Number 5, Star Wars, Kanan the Last Padawan. Number 1, the first appearance of Sabine Wren, Kanan, Jarrus, Ezra Bridger, Chopper, Hera, Syndulla, and Garrus Aurelius. This book is awesome, by the way, as well as issue 6. Number 4, we have X-Men Adventures number 1. Number 3, Eternals number 1. Number 2, Symbiote Spider-Man Alien Reality. Number 3, with that kind of hybrid Doctor Strange Spider-Man look. Wonder why, Chris. Number 1, we have Dark Reign Zodiac 1, the first appearance of Zodiac. Why did I do that?
I don't know. A big Zodiac fan?
Did you like it, though? Because, I mean, I sold it.
You should have kept going.
Yeah, I should have kept going. All right, Chris, let's just get into it, man. It's an interesting, honestly, it's a disappointing list. It's kind of like a lame list to me. I don't know why. I was very, meh to it, but you like it. You like it. So tell us.
Bring it back up again. One thing, again, Marvel dominance. Again,
yeah.
This is, I think, 2 out of the last 3 weeks have been all Marvel, and I think it was 9 out of 10 last week that was Marvel, maybe 8 out of 10. But there's certain things I hear you, Jeff. I mean, it's nothing too crazy. We have some rollovers from last week and the last couple of weeks. Eternals, even though the fair market value is dropped some, I mean, it's still selling units, so that's solid. But I did pick 3, and very interesting talking points. So third pick on the list.
Let's just do it. Yeah, what do you got?
Number 3, Ultimate Fallout 4. How can I not pick Ultimate Fallout 4? I've picked this book so many times over the last year and a half on this show, and it's back up here. Why? Well, because we all love Miles Morales for one thing, but I think there's definitely a couple things of why this book is back on this list. But let's look at the numbers. 170% upward trend in sales this week, with a CGC 9.8 high of 2,800. If you guys remember, I don't, when was it exactly? Maybe last fall that this book hit a peak of $3,500 for a 9.8. It was staying above the 3,000 mark for a while. Then it dipped back down to about the 25 to 2,700 range. It's slowly kind of creeping back up. And I think this book kind of hit this list a bit due to a lot of what's going on in the MCU with Spider-Man. There's obviously everyone and their mother and brother is going to show up in No Way Home. There's talks that, Miles Morales still might show up in No Way Home. I don't think that's going to happen. And then there's this talk going on about Tom Holland stating that he made some type of quote somewhere along the lines of, if I'm still playing Spider-Man after 30, I've done something wrong. So I'm thinking people looking at this and saying, oh, well, hey, man, that means, Miles Morales can step on in. But I think there's a lot more to this here. Amy Pascal, with Sony came out and basically said the opposite of what Tom said, saying, no, he's staying, he's on board, and he's going to be, we want him playing it for as long as he can. I think a bit of this is Tom being humble and trying to, not say the wrong thing, which he is always trying very hard to do. So I wouldn't read too much into Miles Morales right now showing up anytime soon. But Jeff and I, you and I have talked about this. I do believe it's inevitable that Miles Morales shows up. I do believe that Sony's going to focus on the end of the Spider-Verse franchise with the character a little more, at least for the next couple of years. We know that Sony and Marvel Studios have a contract agreement for the next 3-film trilogy that's going to start in 2026, and they're going to have a Spider-Man film, the next 3, every other year. So, excuse me, not 2026. Man, I'm ahead of myself. 2023. So that means the first one comes out in 2023. The next one's going to come out in 2025. The next one, 2027. That's 6 years away to where we know we're going to have a Peter Parker, most likely in the MCU/Sony. So what that means for me is I still think we're at least a good few years out of seeing Miles Morales in the MCU, but I do think it's inevitable. Is it a good time to buy this book? Well, I've always said this. When this book was crossing over the 3,000 mark, when this book crossed over the 1,000 mark about a year and a half ago in like May of 2020, people were like, oh, it's a bubble, it's going to crash. That book should never be worth $1,000. And I'm like, watch what it does.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw what it did. And then it dips and people are like, oh, see, I told you it's manipulation. It's COVID bubble. It's all these things. This is normal ebb and flow. It's healthy. You set new floors. I actually just released a video yesterday on my channel where I talk about this because everyone's like, are MCU spec books crashing? No, there may be a little bit of dip, but if you bought it before it got hot, which if you're smart and you're into speculating, you always should, you're still making huge profit off the book. If you bought this book before May of 2020, you're making huge profits. If you bought it probably before last fall, you're still making profits off it if you could sell it for $2,800. So the book is seeing a bit of an upward trend right now. That can, once again, cool off a little bit. But what have I been saying? We have the end of the Spider-Verse 2 coming out next year, right? 2022?
Yeah.
Come on, guys. We got another video game coming out, which is going to affect the sales to a certain extent. This character is going to continue to live in the forefront of the minds and hearts of collectors, young and old. And when we come out, I think Sony's going to hit another home run with Into the Spider-Verse 2. And when we come out of that movie, boy, I'm telling you, people are going to want to go buy Miles Morales. So again, is it a right time to buy? I don't know. I'm not here to tell you that. But I'll tell you what, it's a better time to buy right now than it was 6 months ago, 8 months ago, when it was breaking the $3,000 mark. So we can never predict the future. This is a solid book. It's going to stay that way. The modern Hulk 181, in my humble opinion. And no, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying it'll ever be exactly worth in dollar amount what Hulk 181 is worth. But in terms of legacy and what it means intrinsically, it is that book of this generation.
I thought you were crazy for saying that a long time ago,
Yeah.
and I think I called you out on it, but foot and mouth, definitely, no doubt. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Also, I really think that this thing kind of broke through after that. They revealed that Miles is going to be in the game, the second Spider-Man game for PlayStation, right? I feel like that was probably June, I want to say. I remember that just blowing up. So yeah, man. Again, with Into the Spider-Verse, the sequel coming out, there's a lot of potential. It's unlimited, I think. Honestly, not unlimited. It's not going to be worth billions. Let's be clear here. But it's definitely just going to continue to grow. I have to call myself out for a mistake. and Comic Toby called me out. That was an image of facsimile. I did it again, Chris, every time. Yes, my bad. I did that. No big whoop. All right, moving on though. Oh, I also want to call out somebody else here real quick. Jay Ward, you two are awesome. Santa Claus emoji. No, you're awesome, Jay Ward. You're awesome. You're all awesome. All of you. Happy holidays. All right, Chris, what is your second most interesting book off of this list?
Well, goes a little bit to what we were talking about in the news tonight, and that's all things Star Wars. Kanan number 1.
I love this book.
Making the list again. This book has been doing big things. Right now, obviously, we got the announcement that Sabine is going to be Sabine Wren is cast, played by Natasha. I don't know how to say her name. Is it Lou?
I can't even remember.
Ortizo, something like that.
Yeah, that's it.
So she is going to be in Rosario Dawson's Ahsoka show. Really, really awesome. Now, for Sabine, this technically is her cameo appearance, and it's got a whole bunch of first appearance, including obviously Kanan, Ezra, Chopper, Hera, and the whole squad. So this book is going to move for those other reasons, but right now, obviously, the Sabine casting is making it move. Now, the interesting thing with this is that it made the list obviously because of units sold, not because of price. So just looking at what it's done, it was 150% upward trend in sales with a CGC high of $350. Really, really solid. I mean, I pulled this book out of a 50-cent bin. So really cool to see what it's been doing. I definitely think it's going to continue to grow once we see more of these characters show up in Disney Plus or some type of live action Star Wars canon, right? But I do want to note, though, that issue number 6, which is Sabine's first full appearance, did spike as well, especially in value, because the 9.8 went for double this one for $700. So it just goes to show you, what's been moving because of this news. But again, this one made the list because of units. So, you got a situation where it's a more affordable book, and you got all those other first appearances tied in as well. And that makes this for, still probably a decent investment. Again, is it a good time to buy? I am always one to say stay away from the 9.8s, especially for these modern books. You could save usually a lot of money, even just dipping down to that 9.6 or finding yourself a high grade raw, spending a little bit of money to press and clean it, spending money yourself to go send it into a grading company and seeing if you can get that 9.8. And again, another thing that I like to talk about as well, if you guys don't have the budget and you're stressing your budget out thinking that you need to get a 9.8, I talk about this a lot. I always give reference back to Swaghouse, who did a video talking about key books and how they moved in terms of ROI, return on investment. And, even if you put less money out for lower grades, percentage-wise, ROI, you're still getting a similar percentage of return on investment. It might not be the same dollar amount, but percentage-wise, you're still there earning that return. So again, for those that want to invest or speculate or collect just 9.8s, I'm not knocking you, but it's not the only way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. 360 says it. Low grade is better than no grade. Definitely. By the way, again, I brought this up here, but that Mountain Air, one of my favorite dollar bin wins here. Found 3 last month at my local comic shop. That is amazing.
Nice.
Universe X on Instagram this Saturday.
Nice.
That's beautiful right there. 1 in 6. Oh my gosh. Outstanding. Good stuff. All right. One thing I want to call myself out again. Comic Toby. It wasn't a facsimile. So anyways, we're doing a live show, Comic Toby. Stop messing with us, for God's sakes. Chris, what is your third and most?
Is it the red logo?
It does have the red logo on there.
Yeah, that's a facsimile. Yep.
Okay.
It's all good.
So back and forth.
We're
back
not
and
trying
forth.
to manipulate the market, folks. Don't worry.
No, we're not. Although, no.
Although
We're
I
not.
do have a few copies of those facsimiles.
All right, Chris. What is your third most interesting book from this list right here, the top 10?
Guys,
Get a chip. Get a chip. You deserve it. You deserve it.
I love these. I love them. They're so good.
So they're definitely good.
All right, guys. I'm gonna be a rude Italian and talk with my mouth full while I'm talking with my hands. My first book on the list. I didn't really necessarily want to pick this book, but I find the talking points around it very cool. And anytime I get to have this type of talking point for a top 10, I always want to take advantage of that to be able to present my stance and my opinions to you guys. So I did go ahead and pick the number one book on the list, Dark Reign Zodiac #1. This had get this, 817% upward trend in sales, which means like nobody was buying this book at all. I mean, I don't even know how you quantify that. I don't even know if a book was.
What's the algorithm here for that? Like 800, it's insane.
It's crazy. So we got a high raw selling for $40 though. So for those that don't know, Zodiac was reintroduced in the current Moon Knight run in issue 5. A really predominant role in what's going on with Moon Knight right now as well. So this is why I picked this book. It's the argument of speculation or love for the story. And I'm gonna boil it down to the fact that it's always going to be a little bit of a both, in my humble opinion. But you're going to get those people who are sensationalists or who are on the extreme sides of either opinion, and they're going to be like, oh, nobody cares about that book. They just think that it's going to, it's all speculation, and they think they're going to get rich off of it and all this stuff. And I beg to differ. I think people are really reading this Moon Knight run, for this particular example, and they're so intrigued in what's going on with the characters in the book that they go back and seek out other books of these characters, especially their first appearances. Then you get, even that within itself is partially speculation to a certain extent, maybe, but then you probably get people that aren't even reading it. Maybe they're just keeping their ears hit. They're checking out their previews. They know that Zodiac's coming back and they're trying to speculate on this book to flip for a profit. Whatever the case may be, though, folks. The bottom line, though, we'll never be able to quantify that with data unless we go out and do a survey of, a couple thousand collectors that are picking up the Moon Knight book and buying this one and really seeing where their heads are at. But, and for anybody in the comments right now or anybody that's watching this on the replay, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments about if you're picking up the Moon Knight or if you picked up this book, why? And if you're picking up the Moon Knight, are you looking at this book or this character? Are you being brought into this character? Are you being intrigued to seek out this character now because you're just reading a solid story of something that's going on that's making you invested in the characters? I mean, there's plenty of books where I'm reading along. Like one of them was Tombstone. When I was reading my Spider-Man stuff and Tombstone, the story arc came in with Tombstone. I'm like, I love Tombstone as a villain, and I was looking up his first appearance. I already own 2 of them, so I'm like, oh great, cool. So those things happen for us as comic readers and comic collectors. So that's why I picked this book for my #1 pick today, because regardless of what anyone says, I think the reason why this book is #1 shows a real well-balanced state of the market. It's a little bit of this, it's a little bit of that, and at the end of the day, it makes the hobby and the industry healthy because people are simply buying books. whatever the reason may be. So $40 for this book, I don't know. I can't even really speak to that. I can't even speak to what it was doing before, if it was $1 book, if it was a $5 book. But as always, if you're looking to buy, just have patience, be smart, do your research, and make sure that you have love for the books and are willing to take the risk and just make your sound decisions whenever purchasing. But there you have it, folks. That's why I picked this as my number one.
Yeah, it's interesting. You and I talk about this all the time. We love comic books getting hot for comic book's sake, not because of the movie or TV or anything like that. I'm still on issue 2 of Moon Knight, which I enjoy it. But I would go back on Marvel Unlimited. I wouldn't pay $40, in my opinion, for this book. But the fact that it's in demand because of it, I think it's great. I'm wondering if people are thinking that let's get this book because it'll probably show up in the Disney Plus show. I don't know. Well, either way, it's a good thing, man. It's people are paying attention. How about that?
Absolutely. And I'll say to that, if they are, not like I said, not necessarily now at $40. I can't really speak to that. I didn't do the research on this book like that, but this is being smart. If you know something's going on in comic books simply for comic books and you still want to speculate it on the movies, and it's an affordable book, $1 bin book, $3 book, cover price, $5, $10, whatever, go buy a copy.
Mm-hmm.
Go buy a copy or two, because then you're not gonna, pout and be upset when a character is introduced in the MCU and it's skyrocketing and you're, saying dirty flippers and speculators shame on you, right? So,
yeah, no, definitely. Again, Chris and I will give you our 2 cents here, but you do what you want, man. Buy what you love. So, anyways, that's what we got to say there. Chris, I do believe that ends the top 10 hottest comics of the week.